news. This morning, my guest is Dr. Palgrave Wachidankwa, government spokesperson on security and governance. In the course of the conversation, perhaps we have a second guest join us, but Dr. Palgrave Wachidankwa, it's good to have you. Good morning. Okay, how are you feeling?
I'm well. Thank you so much.
You have a minute or two to get into anything that's occupying the most space in your mind this morning.
Well, I think that I've been doing a study on the life of David.
Oh, okay.
Who was king of Israel. And
You're going biblical today.
Well, very much. Because I've just been seeing that David was a man who was very disciplined, a man who, even his father Jesse, when they were looking for one to be king of Israel, didn't consider that David would be the one that would be chosen by the Lord because he was standing after the Lord's sheep. And for me this morning, I'm akin to the life and character of David, who was a king of Israel, who, despite all the odds that were against him, God still said he was a man after his own heart. And I'm reminded that it's an election year. And in that regard as well, that the Ghanaian people will be minded to deepen their relationship with the Lord in terms of a vertical relationship and a horizontal relationship between human beings.
Right.
And in that regard, choose a leader who we believe is best fit to lead this country.
Thank you for those thoughts. It leaves you with a lot to think through. Absolutely. David, okay. Are you in any way comparing your chosen people on your ticket with David? In any way? I'm just curious. Are you saying that NAPO or Dr. Bawumia both wax and lyrical these days?
Well, you know...
Which of them is David in this case?
No, well, you see, sweetie, it's very difficult for me from a theological point of view to bring context of this.
No, but the way you started, very beautifully crafted.
I'll tell you the truth. I am definitely an MPP person. I'm definitely an avowed follower of Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, his principles, his ideologies, the empathy that he brings on board, the new horizon of digitalization. I believe that where we have gotten to in the world, we need very transparent, honest, decisive leaders.
Is that what he is?
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Benjamin said to sing a song for you.
Until you have encountered an individual, there's not much that you can say of the negatives. But I hope and pray that the Ghanaian people will take their time in analyzing the vision that we are putting out, analyzing the prospects of the future that we have. And be able to make a very good decision for us.
On the front page this morning of the Daily Guide, it says Bawumia NAPO hates road running. But before we even get into the story, Palgrave, NAPO has been saying a lot of things. Yesterday, he came under a lot of attack, and he defended some of the things that he's been saying. I want to understand from your view, what do you make of it? Do you think that we're just being too hard on this man? Or is he not getting the message that we as his people receiving his messages, are putting across to him?
Let me greet your viewing public, and I'm told that all politics is local, so let me greet my twin constituency, Ebuakwa North constituency and Ebuakwa South constituency. Greet my MP, the Honorable Gifty Chumampofo, and greet the Ebuakwa South MP, the Honorable Atachia. And really to state that I believe in leadership. I believe that leadership is successive. I believe that leaders must do more. I am of the view that if leaders don't do more, then there's no reason to give leaders an opportunity. And so in comparison to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, whom many people feel that he shouldn't be touched, you need to put it in context. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's regime from 1957, pre-colonial, immediately after post-colonial, when the Queen was leading the country during that period before we got into our first republic from 1960, 1961, the population of Ghana was about 5 million people. I mean, obviously, there was a lot more that he did, which many people are benefiting from. But you expect that leaders do more, which is why post-Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Buzia has done more, Champon has done more, President Kufuor has done more, Rawlings has done more.
I get your chill of thoughts, but I want you to make it brief. Are you saying, are you defending?
No, I'm not defending. I'm putting it in context that leaders do more. And in leaders doing more, leaders have done more. If If President Akufo has not done more, if Jonathan Mills has not done more, if Mahama has not done more, if President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has not done more, then there's no need for all of us to be here.
So he's done more than... President Akufo-Addo has done more than Nkrumah.
Absolutely.
I'll leave that for our audience to judge. Let's get into the papers. I mean, I'm sure you'll be reading some of the comments that have come up. Even under his own post saying he's grateful for... I was on Twitter yesterday, and I mean, it gave me a field day. But let's get into the papers. On the free SHS, give me my stone. That is Nana Akufo-Addo saying that. Bawumia NAPO hates road running. You've made Tema safe. Mankralo to IGP. Tetracore Energy to launch Ghana's first CNG mother station. Minority security recruitment claims are false. That is according to the majority. Let's get into the papers. Obviously, I'll start with the banner story about NAPO and Bawumia hitting the road running. The 2024 presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party yesterday commenced a 5-day tour of the 5 northern regions. Dr. Bawumia was in Kumasi, the Ashanti regional capital, on Tuesday to introduce his running mates, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh. And he then commenced the 5-day tour starting from the northeast region, dubbed Community Connect, by visiting Nalerugu Gambaga constituency and thereafter storming the Unyo and Bankurubu constituencies respectively. And today he will storm the Sheproni, Saboba and Minong constituencies as well and proceed to, well, he's touring the northern region. And I'm sure his message is that they want to break the eight. They are professing bold solutions for the future.
The message,
and that includes comparing the President Akufo-Addo to all the presidents that we've had so far, and saying that he was raised not to be a coward, you know. So he's not afraid to speak the truth. So what he's saying is the truth. I've been very stingy with my opinion and thoughts on all this so far because I just find it a bit funny. I think that the utterances of these presidential candidates in no small way depicts how they see the voting population. So if you're saying these things to us, you actually believe that we'll hear you and think that, oh, he's saying something wise and sensible. What he's saying is the truth. But we are discerning people. Palgrave.
Sweetie, unless, of course, we don't want to be very honest and truthful.
You cannot look at the things happening. You just gave me context, and this is just a conversation,
yes,
right?
I agree.
Okay, the context you gave me.
I think the context is important.
Okay, so let me give you some context right now.
Leaders do
8 years in power. What one thing? Don't mention free SHS because that's under so much controversy, review, you know, passing it into law. Let's talk about roads. Let's talk about unemployment or underemployment. Let's talk about the energy sector. Let's talk about food security. Let's talk about inflation. What exactly has this government done that really works? We can even talk about health sector. We know what's going on with kidney dialysis and all that. What has this President Akufo-Addo Bawumia government done that supersedes the work of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah? And you cannot say that in the...
I'll tell you something. Anybody who thinks that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah has done more than all successive governments is living in the past history. Anybody. Because that's why I said, I premise my debate and conversation on the fact that in 1957, Ghana's population was about 5 million people. Obviously, there were not a lot of developments as we see today. Post-1957 till now, 2024, we are inching a population of about 34 million people, with great needs, with great desires, with great aspirations. And so very certainly leaders do more and leaders must do more.
If the work of
we cannot live in the past and hold on to past glories and expect that those past glories will continue to live on even when we have appointed leaders. Which is why when we appoint leaders, leaders come with a vision. They share their policies, and those policies are implemented in government should they be voted into office.
Okay.
And now, so I think that we need to put it in context. And there's no vilification of the fact that Nkrumah hasn't done well. President Nkrumah has done extremely well.
You know that some countries, some democracies study Nkrumah, study his legacy.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah. So what have you taken from the works or the life or the legacy of Nkrumah that you are applying in this current government or this administration that you think didn't augur well for you, and so you can confidently say that this government is doing much more than everything that Nkrumah has, or his ideas that he's written down for us to follow.
I think it's the perspective of the argument and the light within which people want to view it. Okay? Nobody disappreciates what Nkrumah has done. Nkrumah has done extremely well. And I've always stated that before Nkrumah, we're a collective of people who felt that Ghana was ready.
It's a numbers game then.
Absolutely. People who were ready, people felt that, yes, Ghana was ready for independence. And I've stated that on the 4th of August 1947, when Dr. J.B. Dankwa said that Ghana was ready for independence and prepared a 10-year journey for us to be able to gain our independence, a collective decision by both men and women who fought for the liberation of this country. And so no one rules out the fact that Nkrumah was singled out to lead Ghana and lead the government delegation at the time to be able to negotiate with the British colony. Nobody rules that out. But all I'm saying is that post Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, we've gone through the First Republic, we've gone through the Second Republic, we've had military juntas, we've gone through the Third Republic, we're in the Fourth Republic. Every single leader has had to contribute significantly upon the foundations which were set.
Exactly. So the work that Nkrumah did with 5 million population and what Akufo-Addo is doing with 30 million population, that is the comparison you're making. That's between the 5 million and the 30-something million.
Absolutely.
That is, by that comparison, he's done more. Point taken.
Exactly. Thank you. Now,
let's move. We do have to get into the papers. Okay, so I'll come back to you. So Mesha South NPP race, NAPO's brother picks #1. That's the nominations are. I think they filed nominations 2 days ago. Yes. So 5 people filed, and NAPO's brother picks #1. Let's see how that goes for him. On a free SHS, Give Me My Stone, that is President Akufo-Addo. I'll just rush through the papers and then we'll do 3 major stories and then I'll come to you. President Akufo-Addo has urged John Mahama, the NDC flag bearer, to acknowledge his role in introducing the free SHS policy. He pointed out that when he initially proposed a free SH policy, then Mahama criticized the idea. However, now he seeks to claim it as his initiative. All right. Israel military tells Gaza City residents to leave. That is on the international front. Ethiopian PM meets Sudan Army chief in push for peace and security. 12 school children, driver killed in a crash. Let me get into that story briefly. At least 12 school children and drivers and 1 driver of their minibus were killed in a road crash in South Africa's Gauteng province as they were going to school. Local officials said on Wednesday 7 other children were brought to a hospital for treatment. Our condolences to those children and the families of all those involved. Government clears all medical supplies at the ports. This is the Global Fund medical supplies that has been at the ports for over a year. After enduring a prolonged bureaucratic stalemate at the Tema port, the government has finally managed to clear all medical supplies that has been stuck for over a year. The persistent delay surrounding the clearance of these crucial medical provisions, generously donated by Global Fund, had sparked widespread concerns among stakeholders and parliamentary members. Acknowledging the mounting pressure, the government recently took decisive steps to address the long-standing issue. Do you think that if Ghanaians didn't come out and make as much noise about this as we did, we would get to the point where these medical supplies are finally left the ports?
Oh, no. I feel that medicine is important, equipments are important, and the number of hospitals that needs to be equipped very well. My own constituency has just received an additional X-ray at the new TAFO government hospital. And so we are glad that at least government comes to the aid of ensuring that these medical equipments are cleared. It's key. I mean, people bring in medical equipment into the country and it must be used for the health infrastructure of the country. So I'm glad.
I'm very happy too because, I mean, these medical supplies need to be used for the reasons why they were donated to us and not just lying at the ports and rotting. Yellow actor referred for treatment abroad. Use courts, not police, for defamation cases. That is on the entertainment front. Let's support women in agribusiness. Tetra Core Energy to launch Ghana's first CNG mother station. Cocoa Board to roll out data management system. Let me get into this story. The Ghana Cocoa Board will soon roll out a new cocoa management system to help boost the operations and improve relations among stakeholders in the cocoa value chain. Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahineju, who disclosed this during a field trip with journalists at in the Central region, said the new database contains all farmer households and farms in polygon maps, which will enable Cocoa Board track and become abreast with activities of farmers across the country. This is all, efforts toward digitalizing various sectors of our economy. So, I mean, if this is what we need to track and be efficient with the work we do at Cocoa Board, it comes as good news to me. But let me introduce my second guest this morning, Yaw Sarpong. political assistant to Alan Chomanting of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. And I see you came with your great transformational plan in hand. Yes. Good morning.
It's like a Bible now. Good morning.
Although you are late, I'll still give you a minute to get into your thoughts before we continue with the papers. What's on your mind?
Actually, when I was coming, I was monitoring, and there was this advert on non-communicable diseases. And I think that it's important that we all add our voices, you know, because it's non-communicable and because those who have it are not able to complain or come out to speak about it. You will notice that they die in silence, and it's like they are neglected. So we should have, I think it's good that there's been a call for a national dialogue. Let's all look into it. If there are ways we can all help fight it, because this mostly, I call them the expensive diseases. They're the expensive
diseases. Needing 3,500 cedis a month just to live in this economy.
In this economy where we are not able to put on belts but suspenders.
Right. I watched a documentary and the girl was saying that sometimes she's tired of calling people every time so they can get money just to go to the hospital. And sometimes they have the money to go, but they don't even have transportation.
It's embarrassing.
It's
when you would have to make a call.
Yeah.
Almost, you know, some are monthly, some are weekly. You know, when every week you are not rather thinking about what to eat or to drink, but rather...
That becomes a luxury, you know.
You know,
what
the medication rather becomes the everyday thing, you know. It's good. I think you should all add your voices to
absolutely,
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw the conversations on NCD. It's very key for us to ensure that we extend the right hand of embracing onto them, because I've always been a proponent of human life.
Yeah.
That human lives matter. You always don't have an opportunity to come back again when you are extinct. Yes. The best we can do is to make sure that we support in the manner in which we can.
Riddle, who said, we know how to bring the economy back, but we don't know how to bring the people back during COVID.
The economy is not back yet.
The economy is back.
Ah, boy. Gentlemen, let's get into the papers. So I was just reading a story about Cocoa Board set to roll out a new digital system to onboard cocoa farmers, you know, to be able to track where these farms are in their households for efficiency. Then I'll take your thoughts on that, then I'll go to Paul.
I think that it's high time Cocoa Board has got absolute data on the cocoa farms. And when I saw the story this morning, then I asked myself, so if they do not have these data, then they still have a budget to go do what we call the cocoa spraying exercises and, you know, tree planting in all of these areas. Then I asked myself, where do they go to do it? Data is very important. But more importantly is how the finances of Cocoa Board is being managed. I think that those who are not even farmers are benefiting more than those who are the actual farmers and are actually feeding the nation. We should be able to properly draw the lines between the farming, the financing of cocoa, and the other activities that comes with cocoa.
Okay.
They should be seen doing more of the research, more of the farming, and separated from the trading aspect of cocoa. I see them more interested in the trading aspect, and whether trading or the main agricultural activity, they need data to be able to. It's a good call. I just hope that it's something that we are able to hold and work with.
Okay. Paul Grave.
Yes, so I have seen that Cocoa Board is doing what many African countries are not doing. To be able to pin the cocoa tree, the cocoa farmer, the cocoa pod, would be able to bring effective transformation. And I listened to the CEO on Asempa when he spoke about it very clearly. And, you know, the lighter side of this is that in 1957, this was not.
Paul, you don't have to do this.
I don't have to, but then
really
I don't have to. But no, I don't have to. But I just want you to know. You understand? I'm bringing it to your forefront. Okay, just for you to be able to know that leaders do more, and that's what everybody expects leaders to do. And the comparison
it's a
really
question of evolution,
exactly,
and civilization,
exactly,
and what was available
and
then,
innovation,
and what was available then,
absolutely,
and what's available now.
Absolutely.
Okay,
But
so
let's just
leave it.
But it just brings to mind. But we must commend Cocoa Board for bringing this digital transformation within the cocoa industry, and I think that every single farmer will be happy. Thereby, when you have challenges, and I'm told that the data is there, when your cocoa pod is not performing very well and your cocoa tree is not performing very well, we can locate it. And the good news as well is that when the cocoa is sold, we can also be able to locate the farm it is coming from in that process. And that's a lot more.
There's another story here about NAPO is not arrogant, according to Tumfo. And although we've gotten into the story already, I want to know what you think, Nana Yaw Sarpong. What is the position of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change in terms of the things that running mates for the NPP has been saying? The comparison to Osajefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and many other things. What say you?
First of all, I think that NAPO was a bit more, I want to be careful with my choice of words, but that was more of an irresponsible statement to have, you know, not the comparison, but the statement, the context in which the comparison was done. There has been issues between the NPP and the Nkrumahs, which His Excellency, the former president, actually, President Akufo, during his tenure, tried to play around it to see how best he can water things. And we've been in a very good relationship with them ever since. You do not use this opportunity that is given you to bring back the scars. What NAPO should have done was rather to have used the opportunity given him his first public speech to give a sense of direction, to give a sense of hope, and to give a sense of restoration. But rather, he used this opportunity to rather do negative propaganda. And to my surprise, he's actually going around defending this statement.
He said he was raised to be honest. Okay,
so then that was not honesty.
Just a sec. Was it you that told me that? I think I asked last time we met about the things he's been saying and his responses to the energy crisis and some of the requests for a timetable. And someone said to me that a new NAPO will be revealed or unveiled. So is this the NAPO 2.0?
I don't think I don't think.
So is this the new NAPO we are seeing? So what we are getting now is the new NAPO.
This is the real NAPO we are seeing. And you see, surprisingly, this was less than 35 minutes after his grandfather had actually advised him not to embarrass him.
Yeah.
And you see, in the Akan tradition, if your grandfather should come into the public domain and say that, I have advised you at home, but for the avoidance of doubt, let me say it for everyone to hear, that indeed, I raised you not to be arrogant. I can say you are not arrogant, but you have the responsibility to prove yourself.
And that's a story.
35 minutes afterwards or so, 40 minutes afterwards, you go to embarrass him. He owed Ghanaians an apology. If there is any president now who, from Kwame Nkrumah's time to date, who has brought in policies of transformation, we should be talking about the Kwame Nkrumahs, we should be talking about the President Akufo-Addo. You can pinpoint to transformation, industrial transformation policies, things that has direct effect and impact on the economy.
The dam that gives us energy right now, Akosombo Dam, and all those things.
Tema Motorway. Then this same man, you would refer to him as such. That was an irresponsible
So let's move on. Let's do some more
they would actually defend it.
Let's
defend it.
No, I think we just don't see how we don't see life as you guys see it. I think we are just operating in two different realities.
No, it cannot be.
No, it's two different realities.
That's what I've said. The reality is that leaders do more.
Okay.
And you expect that leaders do more.
What has your leader done?
Of course, you don't know what President Akufo-Addo has done. You talk about industrialization. Look at the number of factories that we put in. Look at the number of ambulances.
Which factory?
Are you able to campaign with the one you want?
Absolutely.
Alan was not.
Alan was a member of the government.
Okay.
Alan Tremantin was a member of the government.
He performed good.
He was a minister under President Akufo-Addo.
So he did good.
the president, Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, appointed him as minister in his first term and second term. So,
Visionary leader here.
So
no, but the president has always appointed leaders.
We don't have time for all that.
Leaders.
So minority security recruitment claims are false. That is according to the majority. And this is still the Daily Guide newspaper. I think this is the last story I'll do, and we move on to other papers. Majority in Parliament has dismissed as untrue the minority's claim that the government intends to recruit 11,000 personnel into their security services. And the NDC MPs had accused the government of engaging in irregular recruitment ahead of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections, led by their deputy leader, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa. The NDC MP said the type of recruitment the government plans to embark upon is fraught with procedural breaches and nepotism. Quote, it would be recalled that the NDC minority raised concerns about similar secret recruitment of NPP foot soldiers, including its thugs, into the security services as part of its election rigging machine for the 2020 general elections, he said. And responding to the allegations, First Deputy Majority Whip Habib Idrisu said the minority had deliberately distorted the facts to cause political tension. Palgrave.
You know, I've seen conversations on recruitment. I've seen headlines on recruitment. I'm concerned to see that the minority would want to bring a lot more political colorization into this, because you see, I don't know, unless someone should tell me, that the security personnel are able to aid in the rigging of an election. I don't know. I don't know, unless someone tells me. What I know is that every single
But what is the role of security personnel in elections?
Is to make sure that you protect the electoral processes. You should make sure that there is peace and the right protocols are followed. That's the role. I know.
So
that's the role.
I just want to make a point. I want you to make a point, but like follow my trail of thought. So to ensure that the right things are done. So if you have a polling station packed with security personnel from a particular party or sympathizers of a particular party, is it a possibility that they will stand by and watch the wrong things rather being done? You
know, my challenge really with that thought is that you're assuming that the security personnel are from a particular political party. When you go to...
But there are instances, where...
Sweetie, let me tell you. When you go to the war school, which is where they train a lot of these security personnel, you are told that for effective peace in your country, you must ensure that there is equal representation of every ethnic group in your security apparatus. That's what you are told. Because at the war front, I'm wondering why my brother is watching me with much admiration. At the war front, it's important that you have equity of every single ethnic group represented in the security services. I don't want to think that anybody in the security persons is either aligned to the New Patriotic Party or to the NDC or to CPP. I would want to consider that everyone who is given an opportunity to serve in the military, in the police, in the Ghana Armed Forces, in the prisons or fire service is trained equitably, okay, to unlearn certain traditions that you have had. And so no one goes through training and comes out as an MPP policeman or an NDC policeman. It's neither here nor there.
Be that as it may, is it a possibility that the processes and costs involved in getting into these security agencies require you to know someone big in power or, you know, a political figure so that they can help you get into the agency?
I don't think so. I know people who generally are able to apply and get access into any of the security.
So there are no instances where there's a particular number reserved for people in power to feed these agencies with their, you know, their people.
None that I'm
all right.
None that I'm aware.
Nana Yaw Sarpong.
We all have to be honest.
Okay.
In our lives. Sometimes you just have to be honest. You and I go out there, we hear. And trust me, there is no smoke without fire. It can't be always said, and you tell me that there is no iota of truth. We have to deal with the matter. Personally, I think that to do recruitment in an electioneering year, and mostly this is how they do it. They do it some few months to the elections. Now, these security officers come out of training, and probably in weeks, they are placed in election posts. In my view, it's not the best. Now, if you look at our great transformational plan, to deal with this, there is a need. We've stated in the executive part, which has to do with the governance cluster, that related to appointment of heads of independent constitutional bodies and other public sector entities and the heads of security services to make the appointment of the said officers by the president subject to approval by the second chamber. You know, we said we would abolish the Council of State and bring what we call the second chamber. Now, to establish this in place, you know, so that they have a voice, if we have people who have really been scrutinized and are not in position as heads of security based on their political affiliations, purported political affiliations, which, I mean, the ordinary Ghanaian thinks otherwise, then we would see this happening. Okay.
So what I think about this is that it appears, and also you can argue that is because the NDC is in opposition, but they seem to be punching a lot of loopholes.
But that has been
some of the,
that has been it.
The activities leading up to election 2024. There was that missing VVR case that they made a national issue. Then there was the, you know,
Sweetie,
rising up against abolishing the indelible ink. Then there was the moving the dates from December to November.
When MPP was in opposition.
And now it's recruitment and it's packing the Supreme Court with justices.
When MPP was in opposition,
Nana, let me land on my point. It appears that the NDC is punching loopholes in some of the activities that this government, and I'm not saying party, the government, you know, is involved in the build-up to election 2024. Can you see that picture?
You are being very economical. But, but the truth of the matter is, when MPP was in opposition, they point holes in everything that led to the elections.
But I do say that it's because
the Electoral Commission, they attacked the police, they attacked the military. Today, MPP is in government. They are defending everything. See, when you are in government and you are blinded by political callous, you tend to defend every single thing that goes in your favor, that seems to be going to your favor. But so they'll be surprised because Ghanaians are tired. Okay. The police, they are also Ghanaians. They go to the market. The Electoral Commissioner, I said that at least if she doesn't know anything of, she's not seen anything, she has a predecessor, Dr. Jan. You won't stay in office forever. Okay. And so they should, I think when they are in positions, they should think through the fact that it is just but for a time, and they will be
Kathleen Addy, chairperson of the NCC.
Yes, I do.
She says politicians think in 4 years only. And that statement stuck with me because most of the time, you see developmental works ongoing, days or months to elections. You see people coming out to tell us what we should and should not do or look out for in political figures, days or weeks and months to elections. But that's just my thoughts. Let's get into your papers now, Paul Graves.
My papers, the new finder. Inflation for June drops to 22.8%.
And you say that with such a big smile on your face. Talk to me about the month-to-month inflation.
Government.
And the comparison between last month and this month alone.
Well, it's dropping. It's dropping. It's dropping. Government pilots housing incentives for developers with State Housing Corporation. Access Bank's Waste is Useful campaign to impact over 150,000 children in schools. And then I find this very interesting. Pressure mounts on police to speed up probe into death of KNUST graduate. And then I think their major banner is 30.7 billion Ghana cedis revenue lost in 7 years to import tax exemptions and tax waivers granted to companies. And so I think that for me, my major story, Omni Basic Bank gives vehicle to airport police to enhance security. NPA donates quadruple GCMC equipment to GAIC to protect public health. I'll read the pressure that is mounting on the police and the KNUST because I think that's important. So the family of Ms. Lois Abena Corantin is seeking justice and demanding an answers regarding the circumstances leading to her death on June 7, 2024. They, along with the company she worked for, are urging the Ghana Police Service to release the findings of their preliminary investigations into the death of the 24-year-old Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology graduate. The silence from the police has fueled speculations about the possible cause of Ms. Corantin's death and its damaging reputations. Compounding the situation, the hotel where she was staying has been unable to provide closed-circuit television footage, which is CCTV, claiming their cameras were not functioning at the time. Ms. Cranton had traveled with a senior colleague and a driver to Takoradi in the Western region for a business trip on June 7, 2024, where she met her untimely death the following day. Reports indicate that she had been in contact with her family during the trip with plans to return home after completing a task, and on and on and on. I think this is very important. It would be good for the Ghana Police Service to look into this issue and provide answers to the family. And I'm sad to hear about the death of Ms. Louise Abena Cranton. I think, I don't know what led to the cause of death, but I mean, I've always stated that human dignity and sanctity is important. And then I have here Ghana's urgent drive to meet SDG targets amid rapid population growth. Give Thyself Holy 2024 conference with Bishop Dakiwad Mills. I had to read this because I was ordained by Bishop Dak 12 years ago.
Oh boy. Okay.
Just about this time. And then I noticed.
But I was curious about the inflation story.
Oh, sure, I can quickly do that. So inflation, the year-on-year inflation rate slowed to 22.8% in June compared to 23.1% the previous month. This means that in the month of June, the general price level was 22.8, higher than June 2023. The month-on-month inflation between May and June 2024 was 2.9%. Professor Samuel Enin, the government statistician, at a press briefing, said the consumer price index for June 2024 was 226.4 relative to 184.4 for June 2024. He said food inflation was 24% compared to last month food inflation of 22.6%, with the month-of-month food inflation being about 5.1%. Meanwhile, non-food inflation has also contributed to about 21.6% compared to last month not food inflation of 23.6%, with the month-on-month being about 0.9%.
All right.
Inflation for imported 7.5%.
So basically, it dropped by 2%.
Yes, basically, yes.
Basically, dropped by 2%.
No, but you see,
should we be rejoiced? And you do
every 4
realize
weeks.
that this hasn't really reflected yet in our pockets,
every
right?
4 weeks.
The same
If
price.
we have this going every 4 weeks, I think that we'll be doing better. Every 4 weeks, if inflation drops 2% or 3%, we'll be doing better by the time we get to December.
Sweetie, you know, when they come to sit on set and they speak with this level of impunity.
Nana, how do you call this impunity?
Nana, let's be.
How do you call this impunity?
In 2016, no, with impunity as well.
Sure. I'm saying just don't go.
No, I'm not going that way.
Yeah.
Around this time, 2016, we said that the economy was not being managed well. Inflation around this time was around 17.5%. We campaigned as a party, your party, and we said we could do better.
Your former party.
If we are able to do better, and for that reason, Ghanaians gives us power. And around this same time, we are
24?
22.
24 was last year, yeah, 24.
And we still have the guts to use the then administration as a yardstick. Are we not doing Ghanaians a disservice?
Sweetie, can I tell you something? You know, sometimes when I hear these, right, I get very concerned. And I've stated.
Let him.
I've stated.
Okay, let him finish his trail of thoughts, yeah.
When you are talking about it, they are quick to bring in COVID and Russian-Ukraine war. COVID ended 2-3 years ago.
And we're still paying taxes.
We still pay taxes. You talk about, and you see, when you are talking about the inflation, they are quick to go into the month-to-month and the details, which actually is in single digits. Because people who are listening to us or who are watching and missed the 22.8% would be misinformed by the month-to-month. This does not reflect when you go to the market. GPRTU is threatening to increase fares. Food is going up every single day. And I always tell, I tell people, I say, when you put on the suit and the tie and you sit behind your desk, you would not understand the economy. But just on a Saturday morning or Friday afternoon, just go into the open market and try to buy stuff for the house.
All right. We have to go. Palgrave, your
Sweetie,
response.
I have always advised, and you know, I say that my mother used to tell me to go to the market at dawn.
Oh, not this again.
No,
okay.
it's important. Sweetie, you would be impressed how prices are affordable between the very early hours of the morning. If we all want to wake up early and go to market at dawn, we would have very, very affordable prices.
Palgrave, it's not about when you go to the market to get affordable prices of goods and services. It's about stable prices for a prolonged period of time so that the money you're making does not keep fluctuating against the things you need on a daily basis.
Then it's our collective responsibility. Because there are times that the market people raise their prices.
Why do you think they do that?
There are times that
why would a trader,
there must be equity.
Indulge me. Why would a trader, why would a tomato seller sell what she used to sell for 5 cedis as 10 cedis, do you think? What factors do you think influence that change in prices? Because you said they do that. Why? Because obviously the cost that she's getting it at, you know, the retail or so place is gone high. Cost of transporting those items to the market is gone high. She needs to make profit. The services that she herself needs as a person working for some sort of income has increased. And so she needs to be able to make profit. So when you say that, we should go to the market early.
Why?
Before we can get prices at an affordable price. It's almost as if we are hurt and we're bleeding and you're like, oh, just pour water on it, you'll be fine.
When the crowd
you can't just pour water.
When this issue about food came up, you notice that they went around doing some videos. You go to Amantin, you go into a village, you go in a village around that area where they do tomato farming. You meet a farmer by the farm gate, and he tells you that the basket of tomatoes is, let's say, 40 cedis. Then you make a video of it. Then you come and put it out and tell Ghanaians that a basket of tomato is 40 Ghana cedis. So myself and you, who's staying in Accra, we should travel all the way to Chobodom or Atebu Wamantin to go and buy tomatoes.
I will take.
I mean, it's the same explanation he's giving us here. Let's face reality. Let's be real with Ghanaians. Charlie, Ghana Edin.
I admit that Ghana Edin. And Ghana Edin, not just for you, Ghana Edin, for me, for Sweetie, and for everybody.
And the solution is we should wake up early and go to the
market. We should wake up early and go to the market.
In addition to that, you see, we should ensure. I mean, look at it. Inflation has come down. 22.8%. And I'm not happy.
Have you checked the inflation?
I'm not happy.
Nanaya, let him get through his point, and then we have to go.
I am pleased, really, that. And you see, when you talk about COVID-19, I've stated that take COVID-19 out of President Nana Akufo-Addo's government, take Russia's invasion of Ukraine out of President Nana Akufo-Addo's government, and you realize that in this Fourth Republic, we have been better managers of the Ghanaian economy.
Have you seen our water bodies?
We had a single-digit inflation from 2017, 2018, 2019. Single-digit inflation.
You are only as best as your next performance, Palgrave. This 2024, July, as we sit here and talk about these issues, you cannot say that because you had a single-digit inflation last year or so, 2 years ago, it means that you're doing very well. But we have to go. I'll give you 30 seconds each to just conclude on everything we've discussed so far. I'll start with you, Yaw Sarpong.
I mean, to summarize this, I think that Ghanaians are tired. We need a more united government, a government that would be visionary and transformational, that would be real with Ghanaians, a government that will provide us a high level of stability, growth, resilience, and prosperity as a nation. And in my view, if we're going to dwell among this duopoly, they would always come and sit on set and tell us stories as we're hearing today.
30 seconds is up. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I can agree and empathize that Ghana is hard. Ghana is difficult, but the government of President Akufo-Addo is addressing those very teething challenges. And so for Ghanaians who are struggling on a day-to-day basis with inflation, struggling with unemployment, the government is working on those. And we can only ask that you continue to support and assist our government.
That was honest. But I don't know about the facts in there. A belated birthday dedication going to Stanley Amati Fio. I wish you God's abundance blessings in this special day. From Auntie Na Oyo of McCarthy Hills. And this is coming through Benjamin to you. Happy birthday, Stanley Amati Fio. And that's it.